Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Halloween is tomorrow, and I was maybe should have done this video like a couple days ago or something, but better almost late than never, I guess. I wanted to do some horror manga recommendations, seeing as though it's Halloween time. I also hope that everybody is being safe out there and everything this Halloween, especially now with the virus and everything. So I hope you guys have a fantastic Halloween night, and hopefully maybe you could pick up and read one of these recommendations that I have. I just have three here, and I don't want to go into like crazy spoilers about them. Some of them I've talked about on the channel kind of extensively before, and I kind of wanted to reiterate how much I like them. So the first one, and I think this is probably going to be the least known, is Ibizu by Haruto Ryo. And this is just like a one-shot kind of thing. This actually wasn't printed in English for a long time. I'd actually read it on some pirate website long ago. A cool YouTuber by the name of Bob Samurai actually recommended this, and it's pretty cool. It's basically a stalker story about like this like teenage kid that goes to take the garbage out one night, and there's this girl, this weird like gothic Lolita dressed girl sitting in the garbage, and it's really weird, obviously, and she's filthy and dirty and decrepit looking, and he's freaked out by this because she's kind of just sitting in the dark in the trash, and she won't respond to anything that he's saying and stuff like that, and it's just a creepy situation. And she asks him, "Would you have a little sister?" And he just takes this as this like normal sort of question, and he does have a sister. So he says, "Yeah," and then she doesn't say anything to him. He runs home. He thinks he's okay, but that sets in motion this crazy stalker story where this girl is psycho and she does some really messed up stuff. I don't want to spoil too much, but she like breaks into his house at one point and watches him sleep, and does a whole bunch of like weird stuff and bizarre stuff, messes with him and his friends and his family and everything. And it's really bizarre and out there, and I don't think like discussed enough in the manga community. I feel like a lot of people haven't read this or might have skipped it over or something like that. It's wicked short, definitely like one sitting kind of thing. It's just in this one big volume here. But this character, who I don't even think they actually like name her, I don't remember, but creepy stalker girl is what we're gonna call her. She's very memorable and does some really fucked up stuff in this manga. So, and it does get kind of like physically violent. I will warn that. I put a warning up for that, I suppose. I imagine if you're looking into like horror manga, that probably, I don't think that's gonna necessarily like bother you all that much, but it's definitely creepy, and yeah, it's definitely an interesting read. Definitely check out Ibizu. The second one that I want to talk about is probably the most known of the three, Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Now, this is a very famous author and work. Junji Ito has done Gyo and I think Shiver and a whole bunch of other interesting horror work. He's like the godfather of horror manga. And this is I think a really good work by him. It's available in this 3-in-1 edition on Right Stuff and Amazon if you wanted to pick it up. It's basically about this town. I don't remember if they're like an island or they're just like on a coast. They're on a coastline. And basically their town is haunted by the spiral. And the Uzumaki is this like spiral thing that just keeps reappearing in different spectral, bizarre things that happen within the town. and I really don't want to spoil anymore. It's very hard to describe Uzumaki in my opinion, but a bunch of like messed up stuff happens to the people in this town, and like seemingly only in this town for some reason, and they all go back to the spiral, and there's like seemingly no escape from the spiral. It goes into a whole bunch of different avenues of how the spiral is affecting people's lives and stuff like that. And it's very bizarre. I'm really not doing it good justice in this description. But like the best thing is his art. Like Junji Ito is a master mangaka because he just how he draws like horrific situations. Like I think the big one that everybody like knows from this is the girl who's not a huge spoiler. Is a girl whose head starts to become a spiral, and no, she is not dead. She's in that scene. She's actually fairly okay, I guess. Well, okay. But yeah, there's an example of what the spiral does to people within this manga. And just the detail in his art is very, very interesting. He also has, I mentioned this in my review of this a while back, is he's not afraid to do like cold, like dark humor at times. Like there's events in this where stuff happens to people in the town, and it's basically like, I don't want to say like anthology of different things that happen, but like these things do happen like in like a time period like sequence. So like events will happen and they'll like harken back to previous things that did happen with the spiral. So there's this one particular thing that some people transform into within the town in relation to the spiral. And that's one horrible thing that happens early on in the story. Later on in the story, these people from outside the town come in, and obviously they're like, "What the fuck is going on in this town? You guys are cursed." And they see these things that the people had turned into, and the main character, is her name Kirei? She's like just this normal girl that all these horrible things are happening to, but she perseveres, and she explains to these people that like, oh yeah, in this town sometimes people just turn into blank, and I found that really, really funny, and it's just, yeah, we've grown. That's what, trust me, man, that's tame. Those people are lucky that that's all that happened to them, because some weird stuff happens in this manga. I can't recommend it highly enough. Uzumaki by Junji Ito, amazing author, amazing artist, and certainly worthy of all the praise that he gets. It's actually also getting an anime adaptation, I think, in early next year. I think it got pushed around with COVID and everything. I might be wrong about that. If I am, correct me down below or whatever. But the anime is also going to be in black and white, which is very interesting, to sort of look as good as the manga does. And I really hope that they do the manga art justice, because it is certainly probably the best looking out of these three recommendations. It's one of the better manga, like aesthetic wise, that I've ever read. So my personal favorite of these three, though, is Happiness. You probably did see this coming. I have a whole video about Happiness and Shuzo Oshimi, who is one of my favorite manga authors and artists, and he is I think that this is like his, like, I would say maybe second best work that I've read, behind the Flowers of Evil, which is probably his most like famous work. Blood on the Tracks is currently running, and that's a pretty good series so far from what I've read. But as far as what I've completed, Happiness is very, very good. And it is, it's, I hate saying this, but it's just nonchalantly, but it's a vampire manga. But it's very much not typical. It is like not cliche in its depiction of vampires and stuff. It is about this like high school guy, Okazaki, who struggles to fit in. He's very typical protagonist. Struggles to fit in, stuff like that. In fact, he's rather bullied at school and everything. And very quickly in this story, the pacing is also fantastic. Very quickly, he meets this girl, Nora, who is a vampire, and she turns him into one slowly. But it's not like immediate. It takes like some time in this. It's got an interesting sort of take on like vampirism, I guess it would be, and the physical effects that has on you, and the pluses and minuses of being a vampire, because obviously media depicts them as like, it's this like cool thing, which in some ways it is, and in some ways it is in this story, but in other ways it really sucks. And it really asks the question repeatedly in this is, like, is immortality worth it? Is it really that great? Like, it makes you think of the things that you will definitely miss out on being a vampire in a world filled with humans and stuff like that. And it's got awesome art. It is... I love Shuzo Oshimi and just basically like how he draws people. And if you know anything about like Flowers of Evil or anything like that, this man excels at what I call like the uncomfortable. He is very good at making scenes like your skin crawl in certain situations and put you on like the verge of like, maybe I should almost like stop reading because this is getting weird. And it's just he ties that within his depiction of vampires here. So it's pretty atypical. They all have this amazing cover art, by the way. Obviously each one like looks different. It's one of my favorite series, like looking wise, that I have on my shelf. Very short read as well. It's only 10 volumes total. They're all available on Right Stuff and Amazon. Yeah, it's a really good, quick read. I think fantastic for Halloween time. And if you've never read Shuzo Oshimi stuff before, this is probably like an okay start, because I don't think it's like his best thing, but it's certainly like a good delve into like what the guy's about. And I think if you go through this and maybe it's not necessarily for you, which I could sort of understand, then maybe you stop your Shuzo Hoshimi experiment there. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know down below if there are any really good horror manga that you would recommend to me that I didn't talk about. I'll try and respond if I have read them down below and everything. But yeah, thank you to everybody that supports me on Patreon. You guys are really, really awesome. Yeah, if you like what I'm doing here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. The channel's been growing a lot lately, and I'm really happy about that. It's really cool. Got a bunch of new subs and everything. Let's try and keep that going. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. My name is Miasma, and I'll see you next time.